Welcome to Gist Dish TV, your ultimate gist corner. Before we dive headfirst into this emotionally charged Nollywood development, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and stay locked in with us. Stories like this don't come often, and trust me, this one get layers. For months, the name Bryan Okwara has been circulating not just for his talent, charm, and on-screen presence, but for a deeply personal story that many fans followed with mixed emotions. It was a story of love lost, pride broken, persistence tested, and finally, the decision nobody saw coming. Bryan Okwara, known for his calm confidence, principled stance, and quiet strength, had long drawn a line when it came to his past relationship. After their breakup, he made it clear, at least to those close to him, that he was done. No second chances. No emotional back and forth. No reopening old wounds. But love, as they say, rarely listens to logic. Those close to Bryan know the breakup wasn't noisy or scandal-filled. There were no cheating allegations splashed online, no cryptic posts, no interviews dragging names through the mud. Instead, it was a slow, painful separation rooted in emotional distance, unresolved conflicts, and repeated misunderstandings that wore both of them down. Still, when it ended, Bryan walked away firm. His ex, however, didn't. For months, she pleaded. Not publicly. Not with online pressure or dramatic posts. But privately, persistently, and emotionally. Messages went unanswered. Calls were missed. Mutual friends tried to intervene. Some advised her to let go. Others quietly encouraged her to keep trying. And she did. According to insiders, she admitted her faults openly. She apologized, not once, not twice, but countless times. She acknowledged moments where she took Bryan for granted, where she didn't listen enough, where pride spoke louder than patience. She told him she had grown, reflected, healed. But Bryan remained unmoved. Friends say he struggled internally. While he had forgiven her in his heart, he feared reopening a chapter that once left him drained. He was finally at peace. His career was steady. His emotional boundaries were intact. Why risk destabilizing all that? Yet something lingered. Despite refusing to reconcile, Bryan never blocked her. He never disrespected her. He never shut the door completely. And that silence, calm, respectful silence, kept hope alive. Then came the turning point. Sources say after months of pleading, one conversation finally broke through. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't long. She didn't beg this time. Instead, she spoke with quiet honesty. She told him she didn't want a relationship, at least not yet. She didn't want promises. She didn't want labels. She just wanted one date. One opportunity to sit across from him. One chance to show, not say, how much she had changed. One evening to talk, laugh, and reconnect as two adults without pressure. That request hit Bryan differently. Those close to him say he went silent for days after that conversation. He prayed. He reflected. He spoke to trusted friends. He replayed memories, both good and painful. He asked himself whether fear was guiding his refusal or wisdom. And then, quietly, he agreed. One date. Nothing more. No expectations. No promises. The agreement was clear, this was not a reconciliation. This was not a restart. This was simply two people sharing space again. When news broke that Bryan Okwara had finally agreed to go out with his ex after months of pleading, reactions were intense. Some fans were shocked. Others were hopeful. A few were skeptical. People who had admired Bryan for his discipline questioned whether he was softening. Others praised his maturity, calling it emotional intelligence rather than weakness. The date itself was intentionally low-key. No luxury restaurant. No paparazzi-friendly location. No public display. Sources reveal it was a quiet evening spot, warm lighting, minimal distractions, somewhere conversations could breathe. Bryan arrived calm, guarded, composed. She arrived nervous, emotional, but determined. When they sat down, There was an awkward pause, the kind that only shared history creates. Too much had happened. Too much had been unsaid. But slowly, walls softened. They talked. About life. About growth. About therapy. About lessons learned. She didn't cry. She didn't plead. She didn't try to convince him. Instead, she listened. She allowed him to speak freely about how he felt neglected, unheard, and emotionally exhausted during their relationship. For the first time, sources say, she didn't defend herself. She took responsibility. Bryan noticed. He noticed how calm she was. How grounded. How present. He noticed she wasn't trying to impress him. She wasn't performing remorse. She wasn't rushing outcomes. She was simply real. At one point, according to a close source, Bryan asked a question that had haunted him for months. Why now? Her response reportedly stunned him. She told him losing him forced her to confront part of herself she had ignored for years. She admitted she once believed love would always wait. That forgiveness was guaranteed. That effort could be postponed. She said the breakup humbled her. And this time, she wasn't asking for love back, she was asking for a chance to earn trust again, slowly, honestly, or not at all. The date lasted longer than expected. They laughed, something Bryan hadn't anticipated. They remembered inside jokes. They discussed their careers, future plans, and boundaries. But when the evening ended, Bryan stayed true to his word. He didn't make promises. He didn't offer reconciliation. Instead, he thanked her. For her honesty. For her growth. For respecting his pace. And then he left. That alone sparked another wave of reactions online once whispers of the date spread. Some fans applauded his restraint. Others felt disappointed, wanting a fairy tale ending. Many debated whether exes should ever get second chances. Midway through this unfolding story, don't forget to subscribe to GistDish TV, turn on notifications, and stay connected. We bring you real stories, real emotions, and real-life lessons straight from the heart of Nollywood. Days after the date, Bryan finally broke his silence, though subtly. He didn't post photos. He didn't grant interviews. But he shared a quote on a story that read, "Growth doesn't always mean going back. Sometimes it means understanding why you left." That single line reignited debates. Was he closing the door for good? Or was he simply processing? Those close to Bryan say the date changed something, but not in the way people expected. It didn't magically erase the past. It didn't rekindle romance overnight. But it softened resentment. It brought closure where confusion once lived. And for his ex, that alone meant everything. She reportedly expressed gratitude, not entitlement. She told friends she respected whatever decision Bryan made next. That she finally felt heard. That she had said her truth without fear. In a world where many men are pressured to either forgive instantly or cut off permanently, Bryan chose a middle ground, one rooted in emotional honesty. As weeks passed, the public remained divided. Some insisted he deserved peace, not emotional reruns. Others argued that people change and love deserves patience. And that's the thing about love, it's never black and white. Bryan Okwara didn't give his ex a relationship. He didn't give her false hope. He gave her one date. One human moment. One conversation. One chance to heal, whether together or apart. And perhaps that's the real takeaway. Not every story needs a dramatic reunion. Not every apology demands a restart. Sometimes, closure itself is the gift. As we wrap up this deeply layered gist, remember this: boundaries are not cruelty, and forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. Bryan Okwara showed that strength can look like compassion without surrendering self-respect. Before you go, subscribe to GistDish TV, like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe exes deserve second chances? Or is peace worth protecting at all costs? Because trust me, this gist It truly get as e be.